Hey everyone, welcome to this month's Lady of the Month show. I'm so excited to have you guys, and who else would I have you guys meet but our brand new addition? This is Lawrence O'Neill. He arrived, oop, he had a burp. He arrived right on his due date. At the time of recording this video, he is 4 weeks old, and I wanted to share his birth story with you. So if you're not interested, that's totally fine. I know we're all at different seasons in life, and I know for me, I'm way more interested in birth stories when I'm pregnant than when I'm not. So I totally get it if this is just not like your jam. You can totally skip this video if you want to. But I wanted to tell you guys, so last month's Lady of the Month show, we closed, if you remember, we closed on January 14th instead of the 15th, which is normally when I would have closed my mystery hostess show, but I was just like, you know what, even if I don't go into labor on my due date, I just don't want to be working that day. So I was like, we're going to close the day early. And you guys, I was in labor on Thursday, like while I was entering people's orders, while I was doing my live video, like it was quite something. But I will say, like, I was very much in pre-labor. It wasn't like my contractions were regular or anything, but I could tell that they were the real deal contractions, like when I would have them. So already Thursday evening, I was like, not sure if this was the real thing or if it was all just going to go away. So yes, Thursday I got everybody's orders taken care of, and that was also why I was asking the ladies who won to get me their orders really quickly, because I wanted to have everything done so I could just rest after I had the baby. And that I didn't tell them that I was in labor. I was just like, in case I go into labor or whatever, I really want to wrap this up because, I'm so close to my due date. So Thursday evening, so Thursday was my work day, which when you hear me say my work day, that's the day that I send my kids to a sitter so that I can work on my business. And so that day I had scheduled to have my children there so that I could enter orders and everything. And so my children were gone. And we were just like, should we have them keep them for the night? Because they're really good friends of ours that keep my children for us. And we're like, we just weren't sure. So I told her, keep them for now. We'll check back in around 8 p.m. and let you guys know. And so we did end up deciding to have them keep them overnight, which I was really glad. So I actually shared my birth story to Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, you probably already read it. But I figured for those of you who aren't or didn't get a chance to read it, I would just share it here as well. So up until the week that I was in labor, I was dreading labor. I mean, I shouldn't say up until the week before, because I dreaded labor up until I went into labor. But I just felt like this time around, especially, I just was not ready. And the thought of labor scared me so bad. And it wasn't even that I've had bad labors. Like, I've had really good labors. But just the thought of pushing, like, I feel like I'm always on the verge of panic when I'm in the pushing stage. And I hate that feeling. I hate the feeling of not being in control and of panic. So anyway, but I was very afraid of pushing. I was expecting to go late, which actually brought some comfort to my mind. But I was not in a hurry to collect my birth supplies. So that wasn't really the smartest thing I've ever done. I did start checking some things off then. I ordered some things from Amazon that I needed. We were planning a home birth, which I've had for all 3 of my children now successfully, and had great experiences with that. But got some gentle birth about a week before I was due. Started taking that, and I didn't have any signs of labor like leading up to birth, which is very common for me. I did have some bloody show Thursday morning, which is also why I was like, hey, is this the real deal? But I was also a little concerned because I didn't have very many Braxton Hicks at all throughout my pregnancy. So I was like, oh, is this going to make my pregnancy like so much longer? But that wasn't really the case. So Wednesday I had a prenatal massage. That was Wednesday, the week of my due date. I had a prenatal massage, and that I felt like is what really helped get the baby into the right position, and also just helped prepare my body for labor. Let's see here. By mid-afternoon on Thursday, I was feeling really tired, but I decided to just keep going, and instead of taking a nap, which I really should have taken a nap, but I didn't. And then, let's see here. I have my notes here. I took a quick walk then right around dusk after I drew the winners for the Lady of the Month show. Took a quick walk, and then Arnold got home around 6 o'clock. My sister Carrie brought us supper. I think I took a bath, and I tried to just really get in a good headspace for labor because I just was not at that point. I did have like one mild contraction or something like that in the tub, but nothing major. So we finally went to bed around like 10:30 or 11, tried to sleep. I could not sleep. I was like, excuse me, when I am like excited about something or like just anticipating something, I'm just like tight and tense and like sweaty. And so that's how I felt. Like I just felt like I laid there and was just like tense all night. I was very wound up. So, but each contraction that I had, I felt like was getting more intense. Like they were still really far apart. And for some reason, if I time my contractions, it gives me so much anxiety that they like go away and don't come anymore. So I just have learned not to time my contractions. But I also was having a lot of back labor, which I was not excited about. I didn't have any back labor with Gwen. It was such a welcome change. And so I was really hoping to not with this one, but it wasn't anything like I had with Monty. With Monty, I had really bad back labor. But around 3:30, I woke up to the sound of someone screaming outside of our house. And by wake up, I more like came to full consciousness. I wasn't really sleeping. And I freaked out. I woke Arnold up. I'm like, oh my word, there's a child outside our house screaming for its mother. Like that's literally how it sounded. And Arnold listened for a couple minutes or for a couple seconds. He's like, hon, that is cats. And I was like, we are going to go check because that sounds like a child. So we went downstairs and sure enough, it was cats. Praise the Lord. And I was like, forget it. I can't sleep anymore. I think we laid back down. I can't remember if I took a bath then. I don't even remember. But anyway, around 4:30, I think, I had a contraction that was very intense. And I was like, I don't want to go through another one or through many more of those without a midwife here or like somebody here to help me. So called her and she could tell like I was in the beginning stages of labor because like I didn't even have a contraction while I was on the phone with her. So she sent her assistant out. I loved her. I loved my assistant with this birth. Like she was amazing. So I went back upstairs, had a lot more bloody show at that point. So I was like, okay, I think it's pretty safe to say that this is the real deal. And I also called my mom because my mom is at my births. So she came over. So the midwife assistant got here around 5:30. And then at that point I was in the tub. So she tried to check me, but like my cervix was so far back behind the baby's head, she couldn't even give me a number. I actually didn't even get a number the whole time I was in labor at all. I never knew how far I was dilated. So once Emmy got there and I laid in bed, like the contractions started definitely becoming more regular. I wouldn't say they were ever right on top of each other. They honestly weren't. But right at the beginning, when they started becoming really painful, I was like, I just felt like I can't do this. The pain was so much, and I didn't feel like I had enough time to get into a good place with them before they would kind of crescendo, if you know what I mean. But I started praying out loud, like with each contraction, and that is honestly what helped me so much. I just told the Lord whatever came to my mind, and it was just a really sweet time, and that helped tremendously. So I'd pray through each contraction. I also had a tincture called Serious Relaxer that my midwife has, and I would pump about 6 pumps of that into my mouth at the beginning of each contraction. That really helped a lot. And I would squeeze Arnold's hand, and my mom, she does this amazing head press thing, like through contractions. Like, you know how your mom checks you for a fever? Like she'll put your hand on your forehead and one hand on the back of your head. She would do that and like really squeeze. And that really helped to take, I don't know if it offset the pressure like down below or something, but that really helped. Oh man. I remember praying that that pushing would feel good when the time came. I don't know if I would quite go as far to say that it felt good, but it was not as bad as I thought it would be. One of the biggest thing that I noticed with this particular birth is that I was much more aware of his position. So like I would hear women say things like, oh, I felt him move down with each contraction. And I was like, I've never felt that. I have no idea what they're talking about. And keep in mind up till this point, I don't know if my water broke or not. If it broke in the tub. But there was definitely this time with this labor, I could feel him move down with each contraction. It was crazy. And the one time Arnold was like leaning against my stomach during a contraction, and we both felt him move down. And also I think that was the contraction where I felt the pressure come off my back. So that was amazing. But I don't know what time Emmy checked me again. That was my assistant, or the midwife assistant. But she still didn't have any luck with finding my cervix. So I don't think she tried to check me again then after that. So, at this point, there was a couple contractions where I was starting to feel like pushing might be soon. My midwife wasn't there yet. But at that point I was still in bed, just side lying. I side lied through all of my contractions, and it was just a good position for me. But then I started to feel like, I should maybe get up and get around, because I did not want to have the baby in the bed. I don't know why, but anyway, so I got on the floor, and they put chuck pads down around me. And see, with Gwen, I had a water birth, and I liked that for pain, but I just felt like it slowed everything down a lot, and I just wasn't quite sure that I wanted that again. So this time I just kind of went with it and decided, okay, we're gonna have the baby on the floor in the bedroom. So I did not start pushing before my body started pushing. And I feel like that is really important, for just having a better pushing experience. But my mom had gotten the birth ball out, and so I pushed like maybe 1 or 2 times on that, just not real powerful pushes or anything. Just kind of like on my hands and knees, like leaning over the ball. And then I was like, hey, let's try the birth stool. I had never tried that before. I was kind of terrified to try it, but it was all set up. And then my midwife, by the way, arrived. That was around like 9:30. So she was there before I started pushing. So they got me up on the birth stool, and that was, I think, around 10 o'clock. And oh my goodness, like the next contraction, I let out a holy roar, and his head came out, and then I pushed again, and the rest of him came out. And it was so amazing because Arnold was able to catch him. He was kind of right in front of me with the birth stool, so he was able to catch him, and he was born in the sack. You guys, it was such a neat experience. I didn't really see it because I was like still like, yeah, I can't believe I'm done. But he was born in the sack, and as soon as he like hit Arnold's hands, like the sack kind of like burst off, but it was still really cool. And so they gave me Lawrence right away, and he was pink right away, which is something like, I don't know, for some reason I feel like my other babies did not pink up that fast, but he was pink like right away. And then I was holding it for a little bit, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my word, I'm gonna pass out. And I've only ever passed out once, which, fun fact, it was at a wedding that I was shooting as a photographer. I passed out. Thankfully, it wasn't during the ceremony. It was like right after we had came in from doing the bride and groom's pictures. And it was terribly cold outside, and it was warm in the church. I don't know if that was what it was from, but I had never passed out at that point, but I knew I was going to pass out. And this time it's the same thing. I was like, I know I'm going. So they quickly took the baby, and like I got my head down, and I thought I was like a goner. I was like, I remember thinking like, oh dear, like I wonder if there's something wrong, just slightly, as I was passing out. But then all of a sudden I was like, wait, no, this is not how my story is happening. Like my birth story, I am not going to pass out in these first moments with my baby. So I remember like forcing myself to open my eyes, and I was like, maybe if I just focus on him, like it'll give me enough of a boost that I won't pass out. And that's exactly what happened. So I just like focused on him, and I was like, I am not passing out. So I came to again, and I was fine. I think it was just, I don't know if it was just that whole thing of, I don't know, birth. I did not lose hardly any blood, so it wasn't that. But yeah, it was just interesting. So then the placenta came out probably about 20 minutes later or so. And I did not tear at all, so I was really thankful for that. we at that point had not decided on a middle name yet, so it was so fun. Like, we just were able to lay in bed, which is something I love about home birth. Like, home birth is just so relaxing if you're able to do that, because you're right at home. You don't have to like pack up and get home from the hospital. So we just had a few minutes to just decide. We had like a list of middle names that were maybe an option. So we decided on O'Neill, which means champion. So altogether, his name means bright champion, and we'll probably call him Lori for short. But I don't know. I just feel like it was an amazing experience. I can't say that I look forward to birth because it is really hard. It's very painful. And like I said, I do not like the feeling of panic that it ensues for me. But the Lord is always so faithful during birth, and my husband is amazing. He's like a huge support for me during labor. And I just feel so thankful that everything went well and smoothly, and he is healthy and growing. He had gained like 1 pound and 4 ounces already by his 2-week checkup. I did struggle like with like breast infections and clogged ducts after he was born, so that was not fun at all. But I'm feeling a lot better, feeling very back to normal. And yeah, so this is just a very like update on our life. I'm not going to be sharing about product today or anything, but I hope you guys enjoyed just kind of hearing how my birth story went. Hopefully it wasn't boring or anything. I'm sorry about my voice. I have a cough right now, and I'm just, yeah, trying to recover from that, and losing sleep at night does not help. But anyway, so your bonus word for today's video is going to be birth. And I can't wait to see who wins today's giveaway. But thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I love to hear other people's birth stories too. I feel like, especially right after I have a baby and it's just all fresh in my mind. Like, it's so fun to hear how it goes for other people. But thank you guys so much for the well wishes in the days following Lawrence's birth. So many of you guys texted and messaged, and yeah, all your congratulations meant a lot. So sorry this video got a little bit longer, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will look forward to talking to you guys again tomorrow. I'm going to be talking about my facial routine and what I do, and different things, different tips with that. So, all right, have a good rest of your day, guys. See you later.